you know, the message that he delivered to anyone paying attention in his life was that anything's possible.
What is up, YouTube? I want to do something a little differently this week than normal. This week I want to keep it with the sailing theme, but I want to start, maybe I'll start like a series of these, but I want to share knowledge of the sailing community, right? Whether it's famous sailors, people in history, or modern day sailors that are really inspiring. So what we're going to do, I'm going to interview a film director who directed a documentary called Coyote about a famous sailor named Mike Plant. But before we get there, I want to give you the background. So a couple of months ago, I'm at a sailing seminar. It's called the Safety at Sea Seminar. And there's a special guest speaker there named Rich Wilson. Now, Rich Wilson is a name you should look up if you want to be inspired about sailing. So Rich Wilson has participated a number of times in the Vendée Globe race. The Vendée Globe race is a solo circumnavigation race. They start, I believe, in France. And in 2016 into 2017, Rich Wilson was the oldest participant at age 66. Now Rich Wilson is 68 years old, but he finished the Vendée Globe in 2017. I think he was in 13th place. It was like 107 days. I think averaging over 10 knots, right, the entire race. Crazy. So he is speaking at this seminar, and he started talking about other participants that have been famous sailors in the Vendée Globe race. He mentions the name Mike Plant, and he talks about some really interesting stories about Mike Plant, and unfortunately Mike Plant was lost at sea and passed away in 1992. Nonetheless, his story is amazing. So I went home and I Googled the story. I Googled Mike Plant, and almost immediately I found a couple of resources. One was an article in Forbes, which really drew me in. For example, I'll read you this little portion here. Mike Plant remained restless. Through his preference of varied, creative, and eclectic international wanderings, he had condemned himself to being unsuited for the confines of any routine existence. I thought that was interesting. And then I found that there was a new documentary release called Coyote. The Coyote was the name of his boat when he was lost at sea, and it actually capsized. The trailer of this film looks amazing, and I want to show that trailer to you, and then I want to get into an interview with the film's director, Thomas Simmons. And the background real quick on Tom Simmons is that I emailed him kind of out of nowhere after I had been doing a lot of research. He was nice enough to respond. We kind of created a dialogue. Now when I emailed him, I said, you know, I would love to share this film with my viewers. I think it's definitely a worthwhile thing that sailors would love, and I want to promote this. I'm not getting paid. He didn't ask me to do this. I just thought it was great that there was actually a great sailing documentary out there. So, with that said, let's watch this trailer. It's about 2 minutes and 30 seconds long. Watch it and, well, just watch it.
There are among us a very few who risk their lives chasing a dream.
There's nothing in Mike Plant's world that he didn't think he could do.
I just had this gut feeling that I'll be very good at this. It's a fantastic challenge.
25 men will sail from here tomorrow afternoon on the longest and surely the most dangerous sailboat race ever devised.
This race represents the dreams and desires of all sailors to challenge themselves to the best of their abilities through the ultimate test of man and machine.
Not only was he going to go sail single-handed around the world, he was going to go take on the mighty French.
The French competitors, they were the ultimate adventurers.
These guys were on a mission from God, you know. They were going to build this boat, and then Mike was going to go out and kick some French ass with it, you know.
He was America's greatest solo sailor and a pioneer in that field. More people had been to the moon than had sailed around the world.
Other news, the Coast Guard has called off its search for the American yachtsman Mike Plant.
A psychiatrist said about him when he was young, "It's a pity your son's been born 100 years too late. There's no frontier left."
When he got older, he just catered to trouble.
He was always the black sheep.
all the selling of the cocaine.
He took off into the hills, shirtless, shoeless, penniless. Gone.
We all live by certain guidelines. He had very different guidelines, different rules.
He kind of went crazy.
Mike Plant was arrested and jailed.
But you could just sense that he was destined to do something really special.
You could have taken the easy way out. You could have gone back to your building business, got married, raised a couple of kids.
I never thought of any of those things.
He was appreciated here. He was a hero in France and in Europe.
What it proves is that there are people with a sense of adventure and with enough belief in themselves, and they can step out and take themselves a little further. I've been searching those things out all my whole life.
Wow, doesn't that look awesome, right? So let's switch gears and let's talk to Thomas Simmons about this incredible film that is actually being released today, Tuesday, October 2nd, on a wide release of platforms including Amazon, iTunes, Vimeo. I think he'll tell us more. But so let's see if we can get Thomas Simmons on the FaceTime call. Thomas Simmons, hey, thanks for joining us. You know, we just watched this trailer from the video, and it was just incredible, especially for people involved in sailing and who love adventure. And how did you get involved in collecting the footage and all that?
Yeah, well, it's pretty crazy. I'm not a filmmaker by trade. I was actually working in finance in San Francisco when I decided to, this is 2014, and decided to take a left turn in my life and my career to make this film about Mike Plant. I guess the easiest way to answer how I'm connected to the story is Mike was my uncle, and so as a young man I knew him pretty well, and you know, he was kind of a hero of mine as a kid, just the things that he was up to and things he was accomplishing. In terms of actually making the film, I like I said, I had no experience making a film, and it's a great example of you know, a message to people out there that whether it's filmmaking or whatever you want to do, if you really believe in the mission and you've got passion behind it, you know, you can get anything done. A lot of people said to me, "Gosh, you're crazy. You're leaving a secure job in finance. You're working in San Francisco. You're a young professional, and you're going to leave that all behind to make a documentary that, frankly, might not make any money if you want to talk about, you know, the financial aspect of it." And I guess I was at a point in my life at the age of, trying to think, I guess I was 33, it's too many years ago now, where I just felt like this was a good opportunity in my life to do something that I really believed in. You know, I didn't have any kids. I wasn't married at the time when I launched into this journey, but I believed so strongly in Mike's life story. And, you know, very high level, he was a person who never subscribed to the conventional path that many people, especially in the United States, do. You know, we go to college, we get a 9-to-5 job, we raise a family, etc., and then we just keep doing it over and over again. And that just really resonated with me, because I don't think you meet many people like that.
Right.
I know there are many adventurers out there and many people like Mike, but I think they're unique and interesting, you know. So I wanted to share Mike's story with the world, which has a lot of highs and a lot of lows too.
What can you tell us about, I guess, you know, was there anything you learned about Mike through this process that you were really, you know, didn't know from previous?
Yeah, well, I would say it's a tough question to answer, only because I didn't find out anything, you know, anything big, but I think overarchingly, I learned from so many people what an impact he left on them. He was a very guarded person. He wasn't close per se with a lot of people, except for his very close-knit team that were helping him, you know, friends that helped him build the boats, or even his naval architect who designed the boats. These are people that probably got as close to Mike as possible, and it wasn't even that close. But what I learned was, even though he wasn't necessarily open to people all the time, he left an incredible impact on their lives, and these people were so willing to step forward and talk about him on camera. It's just evidence to, you know, sort of the wonderful impact he left on people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, not a great answer to your question. I didn't find out anything too. I kind of already knew a lot of the dirt, per se, and there is a lot of dirt. You know, he was an adventurer, and sometimes those adventures took him to some dark corners. And I kind of learned about those stories from my mother and other people. So it wasn't a surprise to me when I, you know, heard about running from the law or other things like that.
Let me ask you about the process of getting this thing released. And I know as a first-time filmmaker, the process, okay, you obviously went through all the footage, you got the completed, you know, film, but then it's a whole other mountain to climb as far as getting it released and the film festivals and the whole thing.
Yeah, it's like an entire second chapter to, you know, what I thought was a one chapter effort, which was you know, climbing a mountain to finish the film. But the distribution part is it's tough. It's a tough world to be in, especially if you're a first-time filmmaker. We were really lucky. One of my cinematographer, Johnny DeCesare, who's made a ton of films, and he's big in the surfing world. In fact, some of your viewers might know who he is because he's been really involved with big-time surfing and those types of adventure films. He had a contact at the Orchard who was willing to take my call, and you know, not that I tried to pitch the film to him, because I really think the story just sort of sells itself. And we had a great initial call, and then subsequent meetings, and they got to view the film, and they bought into it immediately. I think they saw you know, the value and the message in the film, and really it was that simple, you know. But I pounded the pavement for, you know, 7+ months without a lot of answers, and it kind of baffled me because look, I think we've made a great film. I'm not tunnel vision here, and I know that we didn't make the best film in history. I think that might be Godfather 2, but I think we've made a film very worthy of the biggest platforms and to be spread around the world. And I think the message is universal. For the sailors out there, it's you know, awesome. There's a bunch of just open footage, but so it just baffled me that it was so hard. But I guess that's just the way this industry is. I don't have a good answer for that.
Right.
You know?
Now you had some success at different film festivals, if I remember reading.
We did, yeah. In fact, we had a number of sellout shows, unexpected second and third and fourth screenings at particular film festivals because the film was selling out so quickly. And yeah, we won a few Best Documentary Audience Awards, and you know, against a lot of films that come with big producers and big distributors already attached to them, you know. And so, like I said, the Orchard they're awesome. I mean, and they're not a small name either. We got really lucky. We're with a great name, and they know what they're doing. And you know, we'll see what happens Tuesday. Obviously, it's going to release worldwide, and maybe we'll find it on other platforms down the road, like a Netflix or Hulu.
That's awesome. Now, that was my next question: is where is it gonna? It's Tuesday is the big release date, and what platforms can we find this film on?
Yeah, so Tuesday it releases on the iTunes Store, Amazon Direct, Vimeo on Demand, PlayStation, Vudu, and a couple other names that are slipping my mind. But kind of, you know, you should be able to find it.
Right.
It's not hiding, so you can search for it, and then subsequently, you know, a lot of the bigger platforms like a Netflix's of the world, a lot of times they want to see how it performs out of the gate.
Right.
And Netflix is aware of the film; they like the film, but again, from a first-time filmmaker, independent film, they're going to kind of try to maybe see how it plays out and the interest, and I'm hoping that they're pleasantly surprised.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let me ask you real quick. Now that there's a picture behind you of a sailboat, what's that?
That's actually Mike. That's a great picture that the famous photographer Billy Black took of Mike on Coyote. I can grab it for you if you want.
Sure, if you don't mind.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah, so Billy Black is actually in the film, and let's see if we can do this without any glare.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. This is Mike on Coyote, the last boat that he built.
Wow.
And you know, I think they were just doing some promotional shots, and it's pretty funny, the story behind that picture, because there's actually a bunch of guys down below, and he's out, you know, by himself, because they were, you know, make it look like Mike was solo, like he usually is at sea. And the guys below were actually steering the boat through waves so that Mike would get, you know, major splash, and they were just dying. He was, you know, had to hold on to the mast. So anyway, but yeah, Billy Black, I mean, the guy took a lot of the imagery you see on our Facebook or on our website, or you'll see on the iTunes store and other stores. We're so blessed to have this content that he snapped, and he was so generous to let us, you know, use a lot of that. And like I said, he's in the film, which is special too. So
that's very cool. Well, thanks for your time, and I'm so eager to watch this film on Tuesday. I'm going to go on Amazon and check this out. I'm really stoked about this thing. So
yeah, well, thanks for having me, and I'd just like to say too that I really respect your channel and the message that you're delivering. It's important. We need to keep hearing it, and also I know that you've got an adventure around the corner too. So I want to wish you the best on that, and
hey, thank you.
Enjoy yourself out there, all the challenges, and make it home safe.
Thank you so much. Very cool. So this is awesome to me. I mean, this is like, it's like Christmas morning for me. I talked to Thomas Simmons, the director of this really awesome movie. It kind of combines both of my interests, sailing and filmmaking. So I hope you're equally as inspired. Keep that attitude going of the, you know, the adventure of life, really, and the journey, and not being afraid to step out and make those dreams come true for yourself. Now, obviously, safety is always a concern. I mean, with this tragic story of Mike Plant, it brings it back home to sailing is not a simple thing. You're crossing oceans with major, you know, conditions where you have to be really prepared to do that. With that said, it's still exciting about, I mean, like they said in the trailer, right, more people had landed on the moon than had sailed solo around the world, or whatever the quote was back then. It was in the early 90s. The point is, keep following your dreams, keep going after that. Maybe people say it's silly or risky or whatever. Follow your heart, follow your dreams. Look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Thanks a lot for watching.